Good morning, everybody. Today we are going to be making some beautiful soap. This is a part of my essential oil line soap, and this one is called Wintorious Mint. So let's go and make some gorgeous soap. Now, before we start to make our soap, in here, this is just my essential oil blend. And what I want to do is actually add some kaolin clay. Kaolin clay is going to help it hold its scent. I know there's a lot of debate, does it or does it not? But in my experience, yep, it definitely does. I've had a few practices with it and without it. Without it, it's just going to not hold up at all. So you can add 1 tablespoon per every 500 grams, but I'm just going to add 5, which that would be, because I have a 5 kilo mix, so obviously it's per each kilo, because I found that's quite fine. And then basically you want this to sit in here, don't do it straight away because you want it to absorb the essential oils. And I know it doesn't look too beautiful. It looks like Shrek's slurry, doesn't it? But, we want to just leave this to sit here for a couple hours. And besides me, I've already melted down my oils and they're, super hot. So they're going to have to sit here for a couple hours anyway. So then this is going to sit here too. So, depending on your essential oil, depends on how much you use. You can use up to 5%. But you do need to make sure you put this through, it's called EO Calc, which is an essential oils calculator, and that will tell you, and it will say if some of them will say, do you want a light scent, a heavy scent, medium scent, and it will tell you how many. But there are some essential oils that you can only use at 1% or less in cold process soap. So you do need to put them through that to double check. And this mixture here is a mix of mint, what does it have? Mint, orange, some bergamot. It also has some blue gum eucalyptus in it as well. It has some wintergreen in it. And a couple other things. So it does have quite a few essential oils in this blend. It smells lovely. And I'm going to use this, like I said, I think it works out to be 3% in it. Yeah, it does. So it's not going to be super duper strong, which is fine because, we don't want it over the top anyway. No one wants to smell like a pure essential oil. So we're going to leave that aside, and then I'll bring you back when everything else is ready. All right, everyone, we are ready. So inside the bucket here, I have some beautiful olive oil. I have some avocado oil, and I also have some extra virgin olive oil in here. So my olive oil content is 45% for anyone that wants to know. And if you're looking at it on Soap Calc, what I'm actually using for a water to lye ratio is a 1 to 3.8. So I know it sounds a bit technical, but that's what I'm using. Some people will use, a 1 to 2, a 1 to 5. There's nothing wrong either way. It's just how people like to soap. Mine has a lot less water, so that way it will evaporate faster and it's much easier to get out of the mold. So that's why I've changed to this recipe. But look, I've done so many recipes and none of my recipes are the same. They're all a little different for anyone that wants to know. Now, we don't have lye in here or anything like that. This is just olive oil. So before we do anything else, what I actually want to do is inside here, I have some beautiful green clay. Now, this is only 1.5 tablespoons because that's all I have left. So it's better to add your colors if you want them in here now. I'm not going to add anything else because this is an essential oil product. So what I actually want to do is just keep it with natural clays, no micas or anything like that. So my melted oils now, I'm just going to double check them because I did them earlier this morning. They're at 33%, 33 degrees. So that's okay. We can pour them in here. And once again, there's no lye yet. We're just literally doing the oils and we are going to blend the oils together just to make sure they're all done right. So let's just get every last bit out, because if you just pour this in and don't scrape the sides, you're probably leaving about 20 grams inside this container. And I've just measured this out for the video, But honestly, if I was going to do this, once my melted oils and everything were okay, I would literally just be, you know, putting them all into this bucket. So I wouldn't measure them separately except for the melted oils. And usually once your oils are melted down a bit, you can probably add all of your other oils in it as well. Like, I wouldn't add it when this is super hot. But you know, once it's cooling down a tiny bit, then you can just add all the oils in and it's fine. So here I have my castor oil. I'm working at a 5% with castor oil. Castor oil is going to help you with the bubbles and the lather, and just, you know, it's just going to make it all gorgeous. And look, one of these things, a lot of people say, oh, I need extra bubbles. You don't. It's just that, you know, a lot of commercial grade soaps, what they actually do is they just put a lot of chemicals and products in to help but with bubbles, because people just think it makes a cleaner soap, which isn't really true. But it's just, you know, a mind over matter thing, isn't it? So I'm going to quickly blend this up. Nothing too exciting. I have my little stick blender, and we are working with a massive container because this is over 5 kilos and it won't fit into my small containers. So what I'm going to do this is just blend it just to bring that little bit of green to the top. And then what I actually want to do is add in my lye and do all of that, but I need to put glasses on before I do that. So after I've done this little bit, I will bring you back and just show you how lovely this is going to be. It's not going to be majorly green. It's just going to give a very, very slight tint of green. Now, before we get going with everyone, I had to show you this. These are my new molds. Aren't they beautiful? I know only a soap maker would appreciate these beauty, but I had bought these from Aussie Soap Supplies. I really love them. I think they're about 45 centimeters in length, and I think it's roughly about 7.3 or 7.5 across. So I'm kind of going to cut them like about this sort of size because I didn't want them too wide. But anyway, that's kind of what I'm going to be working with. So we'll see if my mix is working. Now, there's something else I bought that I really wanted to show everyone, even though I'm dropping all my goggles and everything on the ground. I bought these as well from Aussie Soap Supplies. Now, these are like a little guest mold. The great thing, if you have something like this, if you have too much soap and you think, well, I've got too much, you can just pour some in here and give these away or sell them. I will actually be doing some little boxes with guest soaps in them in time. I think they'll take about 60 to 65 grams of soap mix. Anyway, so that's for that. Now, you can see in here, it is slightly green, nothing too over fancy, which is beautiful. So now I'm going to just go and put my goggles on. I'm going to organize the lye, and then I'll bring you back to show you what I'm up to. All right, I am prepped up. Now let's get going. We have this little strainer in here. This is for my lye. I always like to put my lye through here. Now, this lye that I'm using, I've actually made this several days ago. And what I've actually done with this is I have infused tea into the lye, and then I've had to take the tea leaves out again. So this will definitely have lye lint on the top, and that's okay. Don't worry if you have these crusty bits on the top, and that's why we just want to get rid of them, because we don't really need to add those in. So I'm just going to do the next bit. So here we have the lye. I'm just literally pouring that into here, which is all my oils. So all my oils and everything are in here. The only thing we don't have is the fragrance, and we don't want to add that. Essential oil, fragrance oil can heat up very, very fast, and it can come to trace really fast, especially with my recipe, because I don't have a lot of, as I did say this already, don't have a lot of oils and stuff like that in it. So it's really, really important just to make sure that, you know, we're doing this the right way, because if we do something a little bit fast or try and put the fragrance in, then we're going to have a problem, aren't we? So I'm just going to add the last little bits in there, which is okay. Don't stress too much about the lye. And now let's get and blend this up. everyone, I have mixed this up, but you can see it's still really fluid. And the thing is, I don't want this super duper thick. We do want a slight trace. So I'm just going to blend it a tiny bit more. And then we're going to add the fragrance. But if this wasn't blended enough and you add the fragrance and it goes hard straight away, you have no time to fix anything, because it sometimes can just turn hard in seconds. So, you know, you definitely just want a light trace when you're making essential oils, nothing too thick. And this is probably okay. I could probably add it, but I'm just going to give it a tiny little bit more blend, and then we're going to add the essential oil. All right, everybody, we are ready to add the essential oil. It is just a very light trace. There is no oil beading and sitting on top, which means it is all blended in. And if you've got a stick blender that you can take the top off, I definitely suggest you take it off in between, because it can be really dangerous if it falls and then it flicks up in the air. I've had that a while back when I wasn't really thinking too much about things, because, you know, you live and learn, don't you? So now in here, like I said, is our slurry that looks like Shrek's grudge, doesn't it, in here? But we're going to add this in, and let's pray that it doesn't go crazy. I don't think it will, because I have some mint and essential oils, and I do have, you know, a little bit of, you know, orange and things like that, and bergamot, and usually they don't go crazy. It's things like clove, geranium, those kind of ones go a little bit nuts. And you have to work super fast with those. But I can tell already, look at this, how beautiful it looks. So let's just blend this one up, and I'm very excited to see this soap when it happens. So let's go. I'm going to blend this up, and I'll bring you back because it's a bit boring watching me just blend up. But, you know, and then we'll pour it in the mold and make it beautiful. All right, everyone, we have our beautiful molds. Like I said, this is looking gorgeous, this particular liner. Don't take your glasses off now, even though we've stopped blending, because this could splash in your eye. So I'm just going to, you could pour it in a jug if you want, but I'm just going to pour it in here. You can see it is quite fluid still. It is still thick. It's not thin at all. And I want this to go literally to the top of my mold here. So I think I worked out that this particular mold is going to be able to handle, I think, what did I work it out now? Oh gosh, I can't remember. But I think it is 2,600 grams, I think, if I'm right. And, you know, you always want to sort of bump down your molds as well once we've done this. And I'm trying to be careful to not make a big mess. And you can see how it's getting thick already, and that's just because it's essential oil. And I'm working at, like I said, a very, you know, what do I say? You know, you're kind of, see, my brain's not here. Oh, my goodness me. And I can tell I've made way too much. And that's fine, because, like I said, we've got the little molds to add them in. All right, everyone, I have actually molded that, and I definitely did too much in this mold, but that's okay. It's still, like, it's quite firm, as you can tell here, but it's still fine. And now what we want to do is just make a beautiful top. So if you sort of, you know, want your tops to be lovely, I just want to sort of smooth this down a tiny bit. You could definitely add a little bit more in the middle if you want to build this up a little bit. So I do have a little bit left. So I'm just going to make a bit of a, like a little peak in the middle, nothing too interesting, but because I have extra and I've made way too much, which is okay. I mean, these are my new molds. I actually had a look on their site and they said this is how much it will take, but clearly I was, clearly that isn't right. So I will have to have a look. I should have done it myself and I didn't. You can kind of do a water measurement, sort of give you a rough idea, but I didn't do that. Anyway, you can do something like this if you just want to create a little peak in the top, but we don't really need that. So now you can use the end of your spatula, which we're going to do literally just to kind of pull it up a little bit in the middle. You can use a spoon, you can use whatever you like. This is quite thick. So, you know, like in the future, I'm going to have to get going a bit faster with this one. I thought this one would behave better than this. It's still behaving fine for an essential oil. and you know, it's fine. It's no issue at all. It really isn't. But you know, if you want to do something fancy, well, this isn't going to happen with this, is it? With this particular one. And we just want to kind of bring it to the middle. Nothing too over the top. And once it gets really thick like this, it will stick to the spoon. So that's the issue too. But it doesn't matter, does it? We know it's going to look beautiful, and that's all that matters. And then, you know, you can use a different spoon. You can use a teaspoon, whatever you like. You can swirl this bit in the middle. And most soap makers will have their own kind of signature way they do things, which is a little bit funny. And I just don't really like too much of a high peak, because I think that's annoying when you've got a soap that you're kind of making. But a little bit of a peak in the middle is kind of cute. And then you could add your florals or whatever you want to add in the middle of this particular one here. And I wasn't sure if I was going to add anything or not, but it does look a little bit boring and sad, doesn't it, without its friends sitting on top. So we might actually just add something. Like I said, this is kind of more of a mint tea inspired one as well. And when you're using things like tea leaves, they can also fasten things up really fast. So I'm pretty sure that's probably what's happened here, but that's okay. I don't really mind. And look, if you've got extra, you can just kind of poke it into the middle just to bring it up. And this is sort of how I want mine to be anyway, in a little peak, but nothing too exciting, because eventually I think they're going to go in a box. So obviously in a box, you kind of want it to look a certain way, don't you? And, you know, it looks fine, doesn't it? So I don't mind that at all. And like I said, if you didn't like that, you could get a spoon and change it and do whatever you like. But for now, I think it's looking quite lovely. Like I said, you know, it's kind of a minter green leafy one. So you could maybe put some mint leaves or something on top, whatever, if you kind of wanted that to happen. And don't be like me who keeps playing around. You know, I kind of have to be good to myself and say, no, that's enough. But anyway, that's it for now. I'm going to find something to put on the top, because I just feel like it's a little bit sad and lonely. Okay, so in here, this is blueberry powder. We might add just a weeny tiny little bit of blueberry powder to the top. It's not going to be anything exciting, and I'm going to take it out of here and hold it in my gloves, because it kind of sticks a little bit, which is a bit annoying, isn't it? This I actually bought from a special health food store. So it is actually natural blueberry. I also bought one that is, oh, what is the other thing that I bought? I'm trying to think of the other one. Oh, dragon fruit. So it was actually dragon fruit powder as well, which is kind of cute. So it's an organic powder. So yeah, so just like I said, a health food store is where I got this. I don't really use it very much, but it gives it a bit of a prettiness. And now we're just going to give it a bit of a spray on here as well with isopropyl. And then I'm going to put the lid, oh, no, I'm not going to put the lids on actually, because it will flatten the top. But I usually don't put lids on anyway. I just let them sit like this. So there you go. We are done. I'm just going to leave that, and I'll bring you back in the morning and we'll see how it goes. Now it is the next day, my friends, and here we go. It is done. Doesn't it look lovely? I'm really happy with the end result. I did actually take one out last night to cut it. So basically with this particular recipe that I'm using, I can take this out within about 14 hours. Sometimes less, but this other one, because I did two and left them overnight, and I definitely have noticed, and I think I did say that earlier in this recipe, in this video, that this recipe is way too much for these molds. So I'm going to actually have to sit down and do a bit of math on what's right or what's not. And then basically this new mold I bought just comes in this kind of silicone, so it comes apart, you know, really easy. The only thing is, if you unmold them early, often the soap can stick to the side, and obviously that's no good. We don't want that. And you know, when you get a fresh mold, it sometimes it takes time before it kind of, you know, easily comes out of the mold. So be fair to your supplier. If you buy one, you think, oh, it's not coming out of the mold super easy. It's often just because it's brand new. It's never been used, and the silicone sort of, you know, well, I find that silicone does soften a little bit over time. And this is a hard silicone, which in a way is good because it means that it's going to, you know, last a long time. If you get ones that are super thin, often they don't. And let me just take this out of the mold. And I'm going to just take that out. And look how beautiful it is. Doesn't it look lovely? So here is my new gorgeous soap. Now I'm going to actually just put this one onto my new soap cutter. Well, it's not a new soap cutter. It's one that I've had before, but I'm going to tell you, everyone, I've had a few issues with it only because I broke the wire. I couldn't get the same wire. I think Aussie Soap Supplies used to sell it, but they don't anymore. So anyway, I have now ordered one from Crafty Surprise. So, a Crafted Surprise, which I did have them at the conference. So that was really cool. And, you know, I thought, who can I get this wire from? And then I thought to myself last night, oh, God, I'm silly. Of course I can get it from them. So anyway, and I've had to put a temporary wire in it. This one is not good for this, but I have to go super slow. So I'm going to pop the camera down so you can see what I'm doing. So I've popped it on here, and it, you know, I ended up adding some little blue cornflowers. I'm not sure whether I did show that in the last video. Now this wire, like I said, if it breaks, I know it is not the cutter. I know it is the wire. The wire is not the right one. It's not strong enough, but it will be okay because I'm getting desperate. You know, I didn't want to leave this and not cut it because I thought if I do that, then I've got a problem. So anyway, here it is. Doesn't it look beautiful? And I think in the future, I'm going to make the tops a little bit smaller because like we'll just break that little bit off because that would be annoying if you had that one bit. But anyway, doesn't it look lovely? I hope that you really do like it. I'm going to pop it on here. So these bars, I'm cutting these at 2.8 centimeters across. I think actually it's 2.9, but anyway, close enough. And they weigh about 150 grams at the moment. So I'm thinking they're going to be probably about 140 grams once they go through their drying process. And these are actually going out the back. So eventually I'll do a bit of a video to show everybody out the back where I keep them. So I do in my old studio now, there's just racks all against one wall, and these are for curing because I will be making lots and lots of them, you know, as we go along. And I'm going to see, oh no, it doesn't. So this was the one I undid last night, and it had like a bit of a gel ring, but it's gone now. Often they go anyway. And so with what I'm cutting them, with the size I'm cutting them, I have one little slither like this left, which is great because you want something like this to do some testing. In every single batch that I do, I test at least one little bit off the end. It's really important to make sure that you're just testing everything. So anyway, I hope you enjoy my beautiful Wintorious mint soap. It's a very cool name. I was sitting there thinking, what am I going to call this soap? And then I just thought winter mint, and I thought, no, that's boring. We'll find something else. So anyway, so that's how I come up with it. And sometimes people ask me, how do I come up with the names? Honestly, I just sit there and think, oh, what's a good name? I mean, there's no real rhyme or reason to anything, but that's what, you know, I'm doing at the moment. Anyway, like I said, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give me a cute little thumbs up, of course, and I'm going to see you lovelies on the next video. Bye, friends.